The fly is the least creatively named animal. Horse comes from an ancient word that means runner. All animal names are like this. They're all named things like the tall one, the one that roars, the jumping one, and so on. The only difference is in English, we don't recognize the original root. Trace the etymology and they're all uncreative. Anteater is pretty close. Flies were named by the same dude who named fireplace. In Danish, we call a lizard for 4 legs Furben, and a centipede is 1,000 legs to Sindben. It was this close to being called a land. In English? Maybe, although dung beetle doesn't strike me as any more so really. In other languages? Well, the German for duck-billed platypus is Schnabeltier, quite literally beak animal, which isn't terribly creative either. And sloth is Faultier, lazy animal, which isn't a whole lot better either. I think they were being nice when they called them tree frogs. Stink bug would like a word. Grasshopper wants a word. Blobfish, named after their imploded corpse after being pulled out of their habitat. It's kind of amazing they beat out eagles and birds for the word. Take it wings off and you have a walk. Musca domestica Linnaeus. And the orange is the least creatively named fruit. Daddy Longlegs has entered the chat. What do you call a fly with no wings? A walk. Petition for naming ants walks from now on. Let's not discuss the cockroach. There was a 50 chance of it being called a land, because that is what it does half the time. Mitch Hedberg. Creativity is overrated. Depends, was it named because of what it did, or did we base the word for moving through the air on its name? Orange seems like a pretty uncreatively named fruit as well until you realize the name for the color was taken from it, not the other way around. Maybe the insect was named first and then they named the activity after it. Red-winged blackbird. I think woodpecker also applies. Wildebeest, which literally means wild animal in Dutch. What's new, right? Then what is a beetle? I heard once that craneflies can be directly translated by their Latin name into long-legged fool. Stick insect takes the cake for me. Watch Ryan George's series on how stuff got its name. If I pull the wings off of a fly, does that make him a walk? Cat in Chinese pronounced as Mao is pretty great, I think. Anteaters want to know your location? Per Mitch Hedberg, it could have been called a land because that's what it does the other half of the time. In Hebrew the word for a fly is pronounced zedvuv, which I've always thought is a perfect onomatopoeia for when a fly flies by your ear. Today my son found a fly with 1 wing. He put it in a Ziploc bag and now refers to it as his pet walk. I dunno, I think the bluebird is up there. What if it was just named on the fly? Together with the orange, the least creatively named fruit, carrots had no chance after oranges were named, unless they went with long pointy things and that's too long. Butterflies used to be flutterbice. I raise you 1 fly swatter, mine are alive. I would like to take the opportunity of this thread to state that butterflies should actually be called flutterbies. Not only is it a better descriptor, but our most whimsical creature deserves a more whimsical name. This is like an orange the color versus orange the fruit situation. The insect name came before the verb to fly. Yet also one of the most accurately named. It was named by the same person who named the orange. The animal was named first though. So it's actually the verb to fly that is uncreative. So what we got? What is this fly thingy? What do we call it? Ah. A fly, all right then, good enough for me, super easy. I mean, it could have been called a buzz. It's also possibly the only animal named after a method of mobility. I mean, maybe in English LOL. Well, in Estonian, sloths are called laisklum, which literally means lazy animal. Also kilpkon, which means shielded frog. Wanna guess who that is? Turtle. Another one, pesukaru. Translated washed washing bear. That's a raccoon. They wash their food. God, I love Estonian. Slav languages have words like that, especially Poland. In Germany, rhinos are called Nose-Horns-Naschner. I like that the fly is named of the action. Not many things in the English language are names as such. And then they made it worse by naming a bunch of bugs that aren't flies fly. In German, bat is Fledermaus, which means fluttering mouse. Which is pretty damn accurate. They were going to call it picnic fucker, but someone thought that was too on the nose. Have you met the sloth? Scientific name-wise, it's probably not top 100 though, with some super uninspired names existing. In the English language, platypus in Dutch is vogelbekdier, which translates to bird beak animal. Just Google to see if it's just a nickname that stuck. But nope. It's only in English language. In Polish it's called mucha, and it definitely is not connected with flying. Fly is in Polish later as a verb. In my language the word for fly has nothing to do with flight. So it's English that's lazy. This is just wrong though. Stick insect is objectively less creative because it is a description of the organism. Fly is a verb creatively used as a noun. Why does this have any upvotes? In Italian, we call the skunk puzzler, which is like stinky-ish. All of the pod and poda names are pretty uninspired as well. Cephalopod means head-foot. Then, Y got for feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 2 feet, equal feet, both feet, double feet, stomach feet, lip feet, sucker feet, wing feet, big feet, slow feet, oar feet, boat feet, joint feet, no feet, 10,000 feet, calloused feet, spade feet, cat feet, small feet. Deer is just the Old English word for animal. Many animal names are just refined human interpretations of the sounds they make. Don't believe me? Say wolves as slow as you can. Up there with grasshopper. Fish are. We have bass and trout, no clue what those names come from. But the subspecies of them are not creative at all. This trout is brown. We call it a brown trout. We found this trout in a brook. We shall call it a brook trout. Hey, we found these two bass close to each other, but one's mouth is bigger than the other. So that's a largemouth bass, and that one there is a smallmouth bass. Hey, we found this bass here in the ocean, it has stripes. Let's call it a stripe bass. And the lid goes on. What do you call a fly with no wings? A walk. My 5yo. An orange is the least creatively named fruit plant. Honestly, I'd love to see humanity embrace its lack of originality, but there's still no animal called walk. Starfish is a contender too. Flying shit-eater? That sounds great. I'm not opposed to flying nuisance. Maybe. I assume there was a term for flies in Aramaic. Dung beetle didn't take much name creativity. Whoever named the sloth was pretty lazy. Turtles turt like nobody's business? You just forget about that? Were flies called flies before humans could fly? I think they earned it. Oranges are literally just named after their color too.